Recently a Chinese article said that the US abandoned Ukraine because of Israel, with the title that the US suddenly announced a big decision, Ukraine was completely abandoned. The following is the content of the article, please listen to it. Start the article. United States stop pretending and, Ukrainian President Zelensky, who was eagerly waiting for US assistance, suddenly received a devastating blow, on January 12, when airstrikes against the Houthi armed forces ignited a gunpowder barrel in the Middle East. The US White House suddenly announced that aid funds for Ukraine had run out and the White House had stopped all aid to Ukraine. That's right, at the time when Ukraine needed America's help the most. America suddenly pushed Ukraine into the abyss. This means Ukraine, I'm sorry, I can only abandon you for the sake of Israel, wish you good health. Zelensky, full of complaints, could no longer restrain the urge to curse, and could not help but pour out his bitterness in an interview with the media. We are very grateful to the United States for providing us with aid, even if only 70%. Aid is still in the US, what is the significance? In other words, even 70% of the aid previously promised by the United States has not been received, now even 70% of the aid previously promised has not been provided. You just pointed at Biden's nose and cursed. After luring Ukraine to the battlefield, you suddenly retreated and ignored it. Is this a personnel matter that you do? You know, at the beginning of the war between Russia and Ukraine, it was the United States that patted its chest to reassure Zelensky, brother, go ahead, the United States and our allies will never let you fight alone. Ourselves, and we will always support you until victory. It was because of America's encouragement that Zelensky repeatedly refused to negotiate with Russia, sinking deeper and deeper into the Russia-Ukraine war and losing more and more land, to the point of no return. But now, right when Russia launched a comprehensive counterattack against Ukraine and Ukraine needed urgent support, the US once again broke its promise. They deceived Zelensky like a stupid boy. In fact, it is no wonder that the United States suddenly stopped all free aid to Ukraine at this time, because now that the United States has one foot in the quagmire in the Middle East, it is difficult for the United States to defend itself. Save yourself. Under continuous fire from Israel, although the US was extremely reluctant to participate in the war in the Middle East, the country was still dragged into the quagmire in the Middle East and began fighting directly with the Houthi armed forces. The war situation in Gaza is difficult. The US must protect Israel and provide strong military support, because the US cannot see Israel completely fall in the Middle East. In that case, the US will no longer have a place in Gaza. Middle East and the country of Ukraine has been sucked dry by the US and can be completely sacrificed. Today, the United States, which has been militarily exhausted for a long time, simply cannot cope with two wars at the same time. Even the United States, which has gritted its teeth and waged air strikes against the Houthi armed forces in Yemen, only firing more than 100 missiles and claiming very good results. Obviously this makes people feel like they can no longer be emotional and want to leave. However, the reluctant Houthi armed forces immediately slapped the US in the face and launched another attack on Israeli cargo ships in the Middle East, putting the US in a difficult situation. While America's allies in the Middle East are coldly looking at America's antics, if America is locked in a long-term frontal war with the Houthi armed forces, it will also have to face the danger from Red Sea economic lifeline. Directly interrupted by the Houthi armed forces, the war has come at a high price, which has made it even more difficult for the United States, already in frequent economic crisis, to support itself. So, in this case, the United States, which is trying to deceive itself and pretend to be fat, can no longer bear the burden of the war in Ukraine and must begin to abandon Ukraine. Although British Prime Minister Sunak went to Ukraine today to cheer Zelensky and encourage him to continue fighting and not surrender. However, without support from the American giant, relying only on sporadic support from Britain and NATO allies will certainly be the last straw for Ukraine. Ukraine, which was ready to be the West's cannon fodder and the vanguard against Russia, finally had to experience the feeling of being completely abandoned. Yes, that's just the author's perspective. What is your opinion? Please let us know in the comments section below this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so we can see you again in the future. Next video, bye. See you again.